技使わせてもらうぜ。
First, I want to thank you guys for all the comments you left in the last video. The amount of details and ideas you brought up motivated me to bring a second part. So I cooked up something real nice for you. Beware that this video contains spoilers to all Xenoblade games. Except X to some extent. If you missed part 1, I have it linked in the description. Other than that, like and subscribe if you like the content, and enjoy the video. Let me correct a few things from the last video. First thing is the discussion of that thing being Mor Ardain or not. And how some people pointed out, yes, this is a right hand. And Mor Ardain is facing away from the island. And now, it makes perfect sense. Which brings a funny realization with it. The imperial capitals of the first 2 Xenoblade games pretty much changed places. Which is a hella cool detail. And now when looking around in Fort Overbiss, I can see the inspiration for it being Mor Ardain. Some even drew connections to Agnaratha, which wouldn't be a stretch in my opinion. And yes, I know, I missed the most obvious thing in the entire game. Which is the Mechonis sword. And guess what? You can see Sword Valley and everything from far away. If you go up on the swords, you can even see Galahad Fortress up there, which is a callback to an area that you visit in Xenoblade Chronicles 1. And let me tell you, I was really happy when I found it. As many have pointed out, this isn't Shulk, but just a Kevasi soldier that happens to look like him. And in reality, it's the one left from him that's actually Shulk. Since the description mentions him with a big red sword in hands as well. Which sounds like the Minato replica that Shulk used in battle. He lost his right arm. And with Rex's statue, that mentions that he dual-wielded the Aegises and lost an eye, which made him use an eye patch. It sounds similar to Dunban and Zeke. Just less fatal. By the way, a fun fact. Did you know that the statue of Faye, the main character from Xenogears, that came out way back on the PlayStation 1, was originally called Project Noah? Makes one wonder what might happen in the future. Exciting stuff. Then we have Guernica Vandham. Another obvious thing that was missing. A really important character in the story of Xenoblade 3. I wonder to what extent he was related to the Vandham we all knew and loved in Xenoblade 2. We never heard of him having children. Maybe he had family somewhere else? Who knows? But the connection is definitely there.
Zuo! You!
Yew and Zuo were 2 side characters that helped Vandham in Xenoblade 2. And I guess I am not the only one who was surprised to hear their names called when the scene hit. They all didn't deserve this. Poor souls. Next up is that some people said that Capricorn is either Valak Mountain or Tantal. But in my opinion, and I am not alone with that, Capricorn is just a frozen gourmand. When it comes to Valak Mountain, we can actually find it in Erythia Sea. With the crystals being damaged and burned out by the sun. But since it's on the Bionis right arm, and you can see its head not too far away from him, it makes perfect sense. Someone else mentioned that the Great Kot Falls look pretty similar to a place that was in Xenoblade 1. And it was actually near Makna Forest as well. This being Great Makna Falls. Now that I am hearing it, it has nearly the same name. Here we have a combination of 2 details. If you find Semon's house in the city, which is on top of his workshop, you see that it is a red house, which you can find plenty in Argentum, where Nopon used to live in these. And not only that, the logo that you see on his roof, looks almost identical to the one you can find in Makna Forest. So it's a combination of the first 2 games. By the way, if you go to the Michiba Canteen in the city, there is a wall that has many locations from the 3rd game. And weirdly enough a picture of not Shulk. And an ad for Semon's workshop. Sneaky Nopon, I swear. Anyway. Do you remember me talking about this location in the previous episode? Someone saw the connection to the Oblivia ring. But honestly, alone the size won't really do it. But if you think about it, people speculated before already it being part of Mechonis. Though, after thinking over it again, I think it's safe to assume, it being just the wrist of the fallen arm. It definitely looks like it.
Lady Melias, withdrawn to the Nopon village and let us handle this beast.
No, Aizel. Do you really expect me to leave you, run away and save myself?
Aizel was a guard who swore to protect Melia with his life. And if you're doing Melia's quest, you will find him safe and sound in Keva's castle. Besides, at the beginning of the quest, Melia mentions that people would go as far as trying to kill her. And that it has happened before. Which is a callback to Tyrea in Xenoblade 1 trying to assassinate her. But if you're able to finish the quest, you'll get a cutscene where every main character from the first game is shown. Did I mention that I love this franchise? And yes, Melia needs to be protected at all cost. Another interesting place is in Dana Desert, where you can find a door that can't be opened. Someone thought that this might be the place where new titans are born. Pretty much Tornas Womb. And something that I noticed, is that thing here kinda reminds me of a place you'll find when meeting Nia for the first time. Is there a connection? Maybe. There is a side quest called Julieta and Romero, where a dude would jump off a cliff to his demise, just to show his love for his girl. Which is a similar side quest from Xenoblade 1, where a Nopon would do the same, jumping off the Makna tree into the lake down. Guys, if you love someone, you don't need to jump off a cliff to show your love. Anyway, there is a table where you discuss things with Monica. And the only time you've seen something like that, is in Xenoblade X in the Blades Barracks. Connection? I don't know, I haven't played X yet. I am sorry. But there is flora in front of the Mechonis sword, which looks pretty similar to the flora you find in Sylvalum in Xenoblade X. How much of a stretch do you want this episode to be? Because we can go even a step further. Do you see the swirl on his hammer? This could confirm that Nopon are indeed the Zonai tribe that will appear in the sequel to The Legend of Zelda.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Some arts are identical from past games. Let me show you some.
We're moving as one. The time is now. Against the odds. We choose to fight. Awesome die. Victory is ours.
Cool. Let's keep this up. Oh yeah? You're a lifesaver.
Hold it down just like this.
If you slay the boss that you can find in the Vault of Heroes, with the Soul Hacker class, you can get the Royal Charisma talent. Which is a callback to the Prince Adam from Torna. Maybe you noticed it before, but everyone in Agnes has a core crystal. And everyone in Keva's has a power frame. Because as we know, blades were always way more powerful than a normal human. So these power frames helped the Keva's soldiers to match their strengths. On a side note, everyone from Xenoblade 1, which is Keva's, recharges their arts over time. And everyone from Xenoblade 2, which is Agnes, recharges it with auto attacks. Which is a cool detail. There are two last things I wanted to ask you. First one, is this thing here. It seems out of place. And looks like a miniature version of, you know it. And then there is another question. If we met Nia, where on Ionios is Dromark? This is all I could gather for now. I really hope you enjoyed it. It's thanks to you guys, that I could make a part 2. If you find even more details, let me know in the comments below. I wish you a fantastic day. You guys are really
So